Welcome once again. It's the Close the Deal show with Terrence McCray. It's a pleasure to see you all continue to tune in on Monday nights on Channel 29 on cable Comcast. Today we're going to talk about one of the biggest issues going on in America, and that is Donald Trump signing an executive order into office and separating families in Mexico on our border. This is a social issue. Injustice type of issue. So my guest today developed an organization, a films and art organization called Pembroke Taparelli Films and Art Institute. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Michelle A. Smith. She's calling in and discussing her organization. Michelle, how are you?
I'm great, Terrence. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure in having you.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of social issues that has transpired throughout our time in life. But today we have a big social injustice issue going on with an executive policy order that our president has just signed in order. So could you let my viewers know, how did your organization, Pembroke Taparelli, come about?
Well, the Pembroke Taparelli Arts and Film Festival came about because as an artist, I found that we were more focused on commercial films and arts and music and not focused on how films, music, and art could intersect and add value to society in relationship to addressing these social issues. So I wanted to create a platform for artists and filmmakers that wanted to use their voice for social activism. So that's how the festival came about. We're a music, arts, and film festival that focuses on social justice issues.
So at a young age, were you someone that actually experienced social injustice?
Yes, at a young age, I grew up in Jamaica. So there's a lot of political unrest, a lot of, discrimination, not necessarily racial, but classism kind of discrimination against people who didn't have a lot. So I guess against poor. And Jamaica is a third world country, so there's a lot of poverty. And so there's a lot of issues around that. And then coming to the States and dealing with racism and learning firsthand, how racism operated in this country. And also just always wanted to be an advocate for those who didn't have a voice. That I've always been that way as a child. I ran for office in high school and college. I was always, a leader in leadership. And so it's just something that's a natural extension of what I am as an artist and as a human being in this world, just wanting to make sure that there is justice and that people get what's rightfully theirs and due to them.
So what does social injustice mean to you?
Well, injustice in general is just when people aren't getting what's rightfully theirs. People aren't treated fairly when there's inequity. So in the sense of healthcare, immigration, racism, domestic violence, gender relations, any time there's inequity, anytime there's abuse, anytime there is unfair treatment, that's injustice.
Well said. Have you worked with anyone in Hollywood?
Uh, I have, in the capacity of this festival, I've worked with Mr. Bill Cobbs, who is a mentor and a friend, and he was the ambassador for the festival last year. Mr. Cobbs has had an extensive career in this industry, and he's a man of integrity, and he was very much a big supporter of the festival and myself, and because he believes that, especially in Hollywood, where there is inequity in terms of diversity and things of that nature, he wants to make sure that the voices of the people are heard, and just knowing the power of film and what it can do, and the power that it does have to kind of inspire people and motivate people. You know, we can use Hollywood, we can use films, we can use music to change the world, basically. And so, as a supporter of that, and as someone who knows the power of film, he supported the organization last year by being our ambassador.
So how many films do you usually hold in your festivals?
Over the last 2 years, each year we've had approximately 40 films in our festival. So somewhere between there, we've had around 40 films on average in our festival.
And
And our festival comes from the films come from all over the world, because for
okay,
me it was important for us to understand that injustice is not an American thing. Injustice is a global thing. So when we look at injustice, let's say domestic violence, we as the festival, we don't only look at injustice in regards to domestic violence in films here in America. We get films from all over the world, because how are other countries handling domestic violence? What are the policies in place to protect the women that are experiencing domestic violence? What are some of the women who are experiencing it? What are they doing? So it's a way to explore these issues on a global scale. What are other filmmakers, how are filmmakers telling these stories? Because basically, the artists are the griots, right? The artists are the storytellers. So they're the ones that inform us of what's going on in our society. Outside of, getting your news from the papers and things, we get our messages too from our filmmakers and our artists. They're the ones that kind of are in touch with the times and what's going on, and they share it with society.
well, who are the qualified judges that decides these films in the film festival?
The judges come from all a varying background, I should say. The first year we had one of our judges was from the Rotten Tomato. He's a critic. He's the chief editor of the Rotten Tomato, and so he was one of our judges. We've had judges who are filmmakers, um, writers, directors, producers. So we have films from, we get judges from all facets of the entertainment industry.
Okay,
And we're
okay.
looking for judges for this year. So if there's any filmmakers out there, established filmmakers, established directors that'd be interested in being a judge, that'd be wonderful. We'd love to hear from you.
How could they contact you?
They can contact us at info@ptaff.org, info@ptaff.org.
So tell me, how did you come up with your name?
Okay. A lot of people ask that question. So Pembroke is an Irish word. It means broken hill. And Taparelli is the Jesuit priest who coined the term social justice in 1834.
Okay.
So what the name means to me is the voice of the broken ones. The name is, this is the festival that's the voice for the people that are disenfranchised, people who are marginalized. So we're telling their stories, presenting these issues, bringing awareness to the broken ones. And the broken ones aren't the people. The broken ones are the people that are disenfranchised by a broken system. So the system is broken. Our political playing field is broken. Our representatives aren't necessarily serving our interest. And so that system is broken because it's not for the people. And so we, as filmmakers and artists, are their voice. We want to be a way to activate, encourage, inspire, mobilize people through bringing awareness to these issues, to act, to do something. We want people to own the change they want to see, to be the change they want to see, according to Gandhi. So that's what we do, and that's what Pembroke Taparelli is all about. Be that voice for the voiceless ones.
Nice. That sounds very nice. You know, a lot of social injustice has transpired throughout our lifetime to where we all want to give some form of way of giving back, whether it's through
Exactly.
charity, whether it's helping the homeless, you know, whether it's, you know, trying to get someone off drugs, you know, or attending
Exactly.
certain meetings, you know,
Right.
and being a voice. And what it sounds like to
Exactly.
me, you know, your films can, you know, really change a lot of people's lives by helping them wake up to a reality of them not knowing
Exactly.
to what's actually going on, you know.
Exactly. And that's what we do. And each year we choose different issues to focus on. The festival itself focuses on social injustice, so we get films from all over regarding those things. But we have panel discussions. We bring in experts. We bring in community members, community activists to speak to certain issues. And this year we're focusing on environmental injustice and health injustice. So health and environmental injustice are the focuses of this year. We're going to be looking at, food deserts, lack of nutritious quality foods in certain neighborhoods. We're going to be looking at diseases that are affecting certain communities more so than others, and what are the treatments and services that are being offered to these individuals. And we're going to be looking at environmental pollutants and how they affect certain communities, and how do we change that? How do we stop these pollutants from giving our kids asthma, toxic waters, from killing our kids, and creating the disadvantages that these kids have in school, not being having proper nutrition, being killed slowly with toxins in their body, and they can't learn, and then they're then pushed into marginalized programs in school because they're labeled. So these are the kind of things we'll be addressing with the festival through our panel discussions as well. And we're going to be looking at mental health within our youth, and what we can do to kind of help lessen the violence that these kids are experiencing, the bullying, all of these things that our kids are experiencing is, coached under mental health. So what do we do to make them more happy? What's going on in their lives? What are the things that we can do as a society, as individuals, as parents, as teachers, educators? What can we do to help our kids better, um, have a better life so there isn't so much angst and violence in their life?
Okay. So, Michelle, where do you see your company 3 years from now?
The goal of this film festival is to be the premier festival for socially relevant content. So when film distributors, film financing, studio heads, they're looking for content that's socially relevant, they'll be coming to our festival to do that. They'll be coming to the filmmakers that we have in our festival. Sundance and Tribeca and TIFF are premier festivals at this time. They have great content. We would be by in 3 years from now. The goal is to have those caliber filmmakers in our festival, but caliber filmmakers who are committed to social justice, filmmakers who, it's not just about putting out commercial content. It's about putting out content that's about making change in our society and helping people live better lives. That's the filmmakers. They're going to be coming to our festival. They're going to be wanting to submit and wanting to be a part of our organization.
So,
And we'll be hopefully,
oh,
go
excuse
ahead.
me, before
Yeah.
2019 comes,
hmm
what events are your organizations doing between now and then?
We have our film festivals in November. So November 1st through the 4th, we'll be having our festival in Los Angeles, at the LA Live Regal Theaters, downtown LA. And we're going to be doing the festival in New York as well, November 8th through the 11th. We haven't, the location for New York is to be determined. We still are still looking for a space in New York for our festival. And we're hosting some fundraisers, dinner, lunches. We're doing a brunch. I'm sorry. We're doing a brunch for a fundraiser that's going to be about sustainable gardening, helping people to learn how to do urban gardening, growing their own foods in urban communities so they can still have nutritious meals. So we're going to do a brunch around that theme and as a fundraiser. So and we're doing a crowdfunding to try and raise funding for the event.
Well,
So that's what we'll be doing in the next few months so that we can lead up to November when we have the festival.
now that sounds like you have not only a direction, but a motivation to bring about social change.
Oh, absolutely. That's the whole goal of the festival is to inspire people. We want when people come to the festival and experience our panel discussions, our films, our art exhibit, our music presentation, that they're motivated, that they're activated, that they want to do something, that they want to be a part of something. They go, they join their local organizations, they write their congressmen, they get out and vote. We want them to actively take a stance, write a check. Every one of us can do something. There's something. We can talk to a child. We can stop being afraid of our youth. We can, do Big Brother, Big Sister. There's so many things out there that's needed, on every level, whether you are working in a corporation or you work in social services or you are an entrepreneur. There's something that every one of us can do to make a difference in someone's lives, someone less fortunate, someone who's in pain. There's something that we can do. And
So,
the festival is to help motivate that.
Michelle, I have one more question for you
Sure.
before we wrap it up. The content that you're talking about is very powerful in waking people up. If you want somebody to know more about you, what would you leave them with?
My motto in life has been one thing. It's very, very simple. Treat people the way you want to be treated. So the one thing that I would leave people with is as you go through your day, treat people the way you want to be treated. Most of us want to be respected. Most of us want to be loved. Most of us want people to see the best in us. So if we put that forward first, then that's what we'll receive. And if we do that, those are simple things and simple ways that we can start the process of change. So, activism is important and it's needed because we're not all on the same playing field and there's inequities in the world. But we can start to bridge a gap in those inequities by doing something that simple. Treating people fairly, treating people with love, treating people with respect. We can start to see those things chip away, and we can lessen the disparities between between individuals, those who have and those who don't in the society. Those are some of the things the simplest things we can do to start the dialogue of change and the attitude of change and to see results and to see change in our society.
Well, Michelle, I want to thank you not only for coming on the show, but I want to thank you for being an advocate of a world problem and something
Thank
that.
you. And I
Go ahead.
just want to say and another way that you can get to know a little bit more about myself and our organization is to visit our website, which is www.ptaff.org. That's www.ptaff.org.
Thank you,
We
Michelle.
have Facebook and Twitter.
Definitely. The
Thank
viewers
you,
will not
Karen.
only just tune in, but they will definitely look up at your website and they will definitely look you up on Twitter as well as Instagram. And you can find
Yes.
Michelle A. Smith on LinkedIn. She has a
Yes,
long
you can.
profile in making a difference.
Thank you so much, Terrence. I really appreciate this opportunity to share what we're doing at Pembroke Taparelli with the audience.
You're welcome. And you can definitely always come back again. Thank you for
Thank
showing
you
up.
so much. I hope to join you in person next time.
Certainly. There you have
Okay.
it, the Close the Deal show. with Michelle A. Smith, a well-renowned advocate in social injustice. Tune in on Monday nights to learn more about the film industry, the arts and films of this woman's wonderful organization that's making a difference all over the world. See who the artists are, see who the producers are by going to her webpage. Take care, Monday nights at 8:30 on cable Comcast, channel 29. And you can also look the Close the Deal show up on www.theclosethedealshow.com.